Alright guys, YouTube says I'm live, so I must be live, right? The internet never lies. Welcome in, welcome in. This is the Howdy Tech Show, or Hanging Out with Dave, I used to call it. And now it's the Howdy Tech Show. Thank you all for being here. Just a little live stream that I do every weekend. Sometimes I do gameplay, sometimes I do articles. You know, sometimes I do different stuff. Sometimes I do PC port pickers lists. Sometimes I ask for people to submit their PCs so I can either roast them or give them advice on how to upgrade them. Whatever. This week I actually got some articles. We're going to be going down through them. I don't know exactly how long I'm going to last today, guys. I'm not feeling the best. I ain't going to get too much into it. Sorry, I know I'm a few minutes late, but I had some technical difficulties I had to get ironed out. I tried to stream a little bit ago and it worked fine. Then I went to go live this time, and yeah, it didn't. I ended up throwing up a bunch of error codes. I had to restart the computer. There is a file language warning, especially if I do any gameplay, if I get into gameplay today, which I don't know if I will or not. My mouth gets a little bad at times, you know. If you guys been around, you guys know that I'm a truck driver by trade, so my mouth and my language ain't the best at all. Just like last weekend, I normally have me a cold Budweiser while I do the show. Last week and this week, I will be drinking coffee. My Dave's Techway mug. If you'd like to pick one up, links in the description. Cheers to y'all. But yeah, then we'll talk about what's coming up on the channel. This week we got 19 new community members. 19 people decided to hit that subscribe button to the channel. Appreciate that. Thank you for the support. I'm glad you found some helpful tips or some entertainment out of my videos. Really appreciate it. Like the title says, it's a little bit old news, but not real old news. But we got new AMD GPUs coming out, which is a good thing, especially with the prices of GPUs coming down. It's pretty nice. The 5800X 3D, which there's a lot of people out there that's bigger YouTubers has already got the numbers on that, so we'll kind of talk about my thoughts and opinions on that. Also, AMD Ryzen, they got a couple different SKUs of CPUs they came out with. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why they're doing that, but we'll also get into them SKUs a little bit. Like I said, just like with the 5800X 3D, and some of the bigger YouTubers and whatnot's already got numbers out on it. The lesser the new CPUs that came out the same way, they've already came out, you know. There's already numbers out on them. Give me my opinions and my thoughts on that as well. Then if I feel up to it, I don't know if I will or not, but we will be, I've been playing Elden Ring, so if I feel up to it and if the stream don't go too long, maybe I'll play a little bit of Elden Ring. I don't know yet. Like I said, I'm not feeling the best, so we'll have to see how this goes. It's kind of a just see how I feel type thing, you know what I mean? I just now started the live stream back up on a weekly basis, so I didn't want to cancel it. I have been away from the streaming for a couple months. Starting last weekend, I started it up. Started back up every weekend on it, on every Saturday morning, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Sorry I can't convert it to everybody's time zone, because I know a lot of you around the world, different countries and all that. I know 11 o'clock on Saturday mornings ain't the best time to be streaming, because a lot of people have stuff to do with the families and stuff they need to take care of on Saturday morning, but this is just what fits best into my schedule. Looks like I still got a couple people watching me, so thank you for joining me. I'm glad you decided to hang out with me. But let's go ahead and jump into these articles. If I remember how to do this, like I said, it's been a while since I've streamed. So we will do this one and cut this one off, and we'll put me up there in the little corner up there. Chris McGraw's in the house. What's going on, Chris? How you been, buddy? Glad you decided to hang out with me today. Like I said, some of these articles is a little bit older articles. They've been out for quite some time. Hey, we're going to start out with the AMD coming out with the 6950X, 6750X, and 6650X. They moved back the release dates on them. Of course they have. I don't know what it is in the tech industry right now. You're welcome, Chris. I don't know what it is in the tech industry, but seems like a lot of the companies is doing this. You know, they promise a release date on a product, and they keep pushing them back. You know, Intel with their GPUs, I don't know how many different times they pushed theirs back. Now AMD's pushing theirs back. It's supposed to be on April the 20th, which is next week. Now they'll push back to May the 10th. I'm not too excited about these. I mean, by looking at the specs on them down through here, about the only thing that's really going to be different is the speed of the memory. I don't know how much that's going to actually have as far as performance gains go. And as long as you got enough memory to run the games that you're playing, you know, that memory speed don't play a real big part. I mean, it does play a little bit, but I don't think it's enough of a difference to justify a relaunch of VideoCardz. You know what I mean? Unless we get a little bit better speeds out of the GPUs. You know, I don't see where they're going to be much different than what they've already got out. I could be wrong on that. But this is what they're saying, that about the only difference is going to be at memory speed. You know, the 6950 XT still going to be 18 gigabytes per second, which is the same thing as the 6900 XT. So I don't see much difference at all on that one. A little bit more heat consumption. You got the 6750 XT, which is 18 gigabits per second, which is up by 2 gigabits per second over the 6700. 6650 XT is 2 gigabits per second faster than the 6600 XT. But I don't see where the big difference is going to be. I don't know. Maybe it's just a grab card for AMD to release something new. That's what I want to take it is. I feel just a bit deceived by all those N2 CPUs. 4500, 5500 still on PCIe Gen 3, while the crap 6500 XT is PCIe Gen 4X, so I don't understand. I don't understand the take on them either, Chris. And again, I think it's just like these video cards. I think they're just a grab for something new to be released. I don't, you know, the 6500 don't make much sense to me. The 5500 don't make much sense to me. The 4500, I mean, it's proven to be crap. You know, just like the launch of the, what was it? What graphics card was it? 6500 or 6500 XT, 6500 graphics card. That was junk. You know, I don't understand, you know, I understand AMD is trying to keep the cost down on some of these components for us. But, you know, if it ain't worth buying, it ain't worth buying. You know, if the price don't match the performance, then, you know, it ain't worth buying. 6500 XT and the 55 and the 45 are a waste of sand. Yes, sir, you are right there. Like I said, I think it's just a last minute grab to try to get as much out of the architecture that they got right now before the new stuff comes out. I wouldn't recommend anybody investing in any of them. Like I said, you know, that's kind of why I waited a while before I even touched these subjects. I wanted to see what some of the other reviewers had to say about the product. Which is one good thing about being a little bit late to the show, like I usually am. But, you know, you can actually see what the real performance of them is before I say anything about it. Unlike just going off the release notes of the manufacturer of them. Because, you know, they're always jacked up. Sorry, guys, but I got to clean up my mess. I spilled some coffee. So I'd rather have my Budweiser. But I am still on prescription pain pills right now, so I don't want to mix beer with prescription pain pills. So, yeah, that's why there's no alcohol for last weekend or this weekend. But that's about what I got on that. I don't know. It don't excite me much. I feel that the last second grab, 5600 on the other hand, is a good value instead of the 5600X. I feel sorry for those who paid more for those instead of getting the 5600. The 5600 seems to be a pretty good deal as long as they can keep that price lower than what the 5600X is. And that's going to be the thing, is to keep that price down below what the 5600X is. Because as the 5600X gets older and older, it's going to continue to drop in price. Are they going to do the same with the 5600 because it's a new product? Kind of a question there too. I think the 5600 right now is a pretty good deal. But like I said, as long as that 5600X don't drop down to the same price point. Those GPU refresh don't get me excited so far. Yeah, me neither. I think they're a joke. I don't know. I think it's just a money grab, trying to get the most out of what's going to be the old GPU silicon before the new stuff launches. And I think the 5500 and the 4500 and all of them is the same. That's just the last grab before the new stuff comes out. There's probably silicon that couldn't match up to be the 5600X, so they knocked it down to a 5600. Silicon that couldn't become a 5600, they knocked it down and made the 5500 out of it. That's normally how a lot of these companies do that. If the silicon ain't up to par to match what the standard is on certain specs of a CPU, they normally just knock them down. GPU same way, they just knock them down and create a tier below them to be able to sell the silicon. Until GPU launches is in the ass, and the world got me pissed off a bit. Me personally, both the GPU manufacturers kind of got me rubbed kind of the wrong way. I don't know. I don't know if I ought to touch on that or not, but Intel, I can understand them wanting to get their GPUs up to snuff or where they think they should be before launching them, but they need to quit coming up with launch dates. Give us a ballpark. Hey, sometime in 2023 they're gonna come out. Instead of just keep upping it, a couple months at a time. Just be honest with us. Say, sometime in 2023 we'll get them out. If you get them out before that, guess what? It's a good thing for them. But AMD and NVIDIA, I'm kind of sick of their shit too. As far as them two catering to the miner so much whenever the mining craze was going on, I think it's a bunch of BS. I don't know. That's just my opinion. The release Alchemist GPU mobile in Korea, but now where else? Yeah, you're talking about the laptop. Yeah, that's, and I seen, I forget who it was. I was watching a video, somebody was talking about that, and, I kind of agree with them on their opinion on it. That was just to keep the shareholders happy, because they promised them a release date, and they did release it. Either it's in one small little country instead of worldwide, they did release them on the release date. I think it's just a way just to, like the other guy said, which I can't remember who it was, that's just a way to keep the shareholders happy because they met the deadline. But that ain't unheard of in the industry either. It happens quite often. And I have a feeling it's gonna be a while before we see them anyplace else, besides in South Korea. And that South Korea thing, it may be just kind of a test field too. You know, they may be just testing to see how well they actually do. And they didn't have enough silicon, or they didn't have enough components for a big launch worldwide, so they picked South Korea because they thought they had enough just to supply South Korea with it. And then they're going to see what happens with it after that. You know, if they can't sell them in South Korea, maybe they think that they ain't going to sell elsewhere, so they may pull the plug on them. It's more powerful than the Intel. Yeah. Yeah, well, it ain't too hard to beat Intel's integrated graphics, but yeah. It's the CPU, GPU glitching that reduces the performance. Yeah. Yeah, you're right there too. You know, if they don't have enough of a CPU and with them GPUs, they ain't gonna perform the most. You know, just like building a desktop computer. You know, you have to have the CPU GPU balance, or have enough of a CPU not to hold back your GPU. Once off, they nearly doubled. Yeah, but that's kind of my thoughts on the Radeon refresh. They don't excite me too much. They don't. Yeah. And this is another one. I mean, most of what I'll talk about today, of course, everything will be linked in the description below what the articles I'm looking at today. Let's flip you guys back over here. Next, we have the 5800 XD 3D. But this is, yeah, this article's back from where there were benchmark leaks. Gamer Nexus has got a wonderful video about this 5800X 3D. I believe it was Gamer Nexus I was watching. And yeah, it's another waste of sand. You know, they promised, what, 15% increase in the games, and it was going to be the top gaming CPU and this and that. By what I've seen on it, it hits that and a very few titles. That onboard memory, or the cache, however you want to pronounce it, it don't do much for games. I don't understand their thinking on that, but I don't know how they think that they're going to get a better gaming CPU by adding more cache to something. I don't know. AMD right now, they're awful confusing on what they're releasing and why they're releasing it. And this one here really don't make no sense. I mean, apparently there are 5800X anyways. 5800X, last time I checked, they're selling pretty good. I don't know why they felt that they needed to throw more cash on it when it ain't going to give you much more performance. It just don't make much sense to me. AMD GPU driver software overclocking the CPU was the news too, but I believe it was patched. Yeah, I found that too. AMD said they were working on patching that, where the overclocking the GPU through the software wasn't going to affect the CPU like it was. But by the way they were talking, it wasn't everybody that was running a CPU, AMD CPU. It was only certain people it was affecting. I don't know how it was making up its mind who to hit and who not to hit, but as far as I know on that, it was supposed to have been a patch put out for that to fix that software bug. And I don't know, I mean, kind of a nice feature actually. You overclock one component in your system and it automatically overclocks the second one. Yeah, may not be too bad. And of course, me and Chris has already talked about this a little bit. The 5700X, 5600, the 5500X, or the 5500 been tested. pretty well waste of sand all the way down the stack, if you ask me. 5700X, yeah, not bad, but the rest of them, 5600 right now ain't bad for the price, as long as they can keep it below the price of the 5600X. Kind of anxious to see what they're actually going to be able to keep that price down or not. GPU with a 5800X 3D, because it will burn itself and be a barbecue. Yeah. You hit it on the point there. 5800X 3D to me is just another cash grab. I don't know, maybe it was just, maybe that's something they should have kept in-house. If they was going to actually look at going down that route for future CPUs or something, maybe they should have kept it in-house instead of putting it out to the public. I think they wasted a lot of silicon and a lot of sand on creating them whenever the, like I said, the 5800X last time I knew was selling pretty good. I don't know why they thought that they had to do anything to it for a cash grab like that. And e-waste of sand released by AMD. Yep, a lot of it. A lot of it. Like I said, these new CPUs, I think it's, especially the lower tiers, I think it's because the silicon couldn't match up to the standard of the 5600X, so they just started selling them as a lower SKU, just as a money grab, just for the silicon and the sand don't go to waste. 5600 right now is a pretty good deal, but here in a month or so, we'll see what the prices is on it. I mean, if you're going to do a budget build, that'd be a pretty good little CPU for that. But other than that, it's just 5600. The rest of them, 5700X, I haven't seen a whole lot of people talking about that one, so I'm not too sure on how it would hold up or how it compares to the 5700 or the 5800. I haven't seen a whole lot of information on that one. I still have my 3600, and I got a good one on the silicon lottery so far. That's good. Yeah, I'm still running, well, I got the 3950X. Of course, I got it because of my video production. I wouldn't even went that high of a CPU, but it comes in handy when you do video editing. The 3600, that's still a good CPU for gaming, depending on what you're planning on pairing it with. But 3600, I don't see why you couldn't run all the way up to a mid-range graphics card at least on it. X570 Tomahawk Wi-Fi gets it boosted up to 4.3 and even 4.4 sometimes. That's pretty nice. Sounds like that's auto overclocking, Chris. That's good silicon lottery right there. But then again, you're looking at a higher trail motherboard too, which has a lot to do with the PBO and the auto overclocking of them. The better motherboard that you actually put out, the better auto overclocking they'll do. It's supposed to get up to 4.2. Yeah, that's what I said. That's pretty good for PBO to get it up that high. Again, like I said, you got a little bit better motherboard than one of the more budget motherboards, so. Excuse me. I don't know how much of my audience is actually interested, but EVGA has got restocked and reloaded on the 30 series high-end cards. I'm not going to touch this one a whole lot either. But they do have 3090 Ti's, they got 3090s, 3080 Ti's, the 3080s, and they got the 3050s. Still 13060s, 3070s, or the TI variants in stock, but looks like they got the rest of them. Of course, the prices are starting to come down. Ron's in the house. How you doing, buddy? Thanks for hanging out with me. I did see that. Unfortunately, I just had to replace my furnace, so now new GPU for me. Yeah. And sometimes stuff comes up, bud. You know, too bad life likes to beat us down like that. The B550 was not released when I got it after the X570. Yeah, I can understand that too. You're one of the early adopters that adopted it into the 500 series motherboards, Chris. What it sounds like. Them Tomahawk boards, I mean, they're pretty nice motherboards. I got a little bit thing against MSI, but I don't know. It's been several years since I've used MSI, so maybe I ought to give them another chance. You know, most companies, they can and most generally will change over time. I had one cost me several $100s a few years back, and MSI just gave me a big old runaround about it. So I try to stay away from the MSI stuff. I do use them from time to time. If I find a good deal on something used, I'll use them. But get a 6600 XT. It's the better choice budget-wise for decent performance. Unless the 3060 is a lot cheaper and not from XFX. Yeah. If you're just building gaming rig and you don't care about the encoders and all that. Now, like for me, for my streaming, I use the encoder. I use the NVMe encoder for my streams. But if you're just gaming, AMD graphics card right now is the way to go. You can get them cheaper. A lot of times they got better performance than what NVIDIA's got, just on the straight gaming performance for the dollar. AMD is definitely a way to go if you don't need the, I mean, truthfully, ray tracing to me is a joke. I mean, I don't know. Yes, it's nice to look at pretty games, but who actually sits there in the middle of a game and just admires the background? Most of the time you're fighting, you're shooting, you're doing this, you're doing that. You really ain't looking to see what ray tracing does. I mean, it's nice for nice screenshots. It's nice to make thumbnails with, but realistically, I agree with you. Or ray tracing is a joke. NVIDIA does have the DSSL or DLSS, which is nice if you need it. If you go with the lower end GPU than what you should be running for what you want. But if you got a decent balanced system, you should need that feature. The upscaling side of things. Reminds me of a hard drive back in the day when it was a new feature. Yeah, exactly. 20 years ago. Yeah, HDR is a joke too in my book. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too old school to get into all this new stuff, but to me it's a joke. It's features that they're adding that nobody ever really uses. HDR, people may use that a little bit. But ray tracing, I don't see where anybody would actually sit down and play a game with ray tracing on just to have the extra lights and the reflections. And I don't know, to me it's just, I know NVIDIA is on the second generation of ray tracing, and it's just, I don't know, it's a joke. It's a gimmick. Of course, NVIDIA is playing off of the, well, we're in our second generation. Look how much better our ray tracing's got. They want, even a lot of the bigger YouTubers said, NVIDIA wants them to mention that when they give them products or when they send them products for review or whatever. The ray tracing, they want to push that ray tracing. I think it's because AMD's nipping on their heels now when it comes to regular gameplay. They have to have something in the bag that makes them worth more money and more of a fight to get the GPU than just regular gameplay. And I think that's what ray tracing is. For photos, it's great, but video and gaming, don't make much noticeable difference. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, HDR and ray tracing, if you're doing a lot of photo work and stuff like that, yeah, I could see that. Um, I don't know if there'd be any scientific applications that ray tracing would be a big benefit for or not. I don't do a whole lot of that kind of work, so I really couldn't answer that. I don't see where it would be. I mean, there may be. It may be better for, I don't know, taking a picture and breaking it down to actually see what's inside the picture, or to, maybe get better detail of a picture or something, maybe. I guess it's possible it could be better for a scientific scientific thing. But I mean, for gaming, I think it's a joke. I think it's just a way for NVIDIA to say, look what we've got over AMD, to try to get people to go with their graphics cards. I kind of can't wait till Intel gets their GPUs launched, though. Let's go ahead and take some look at some prices. Like I said, GPUs are already in stock. Let's go with the 30 series and the 6000 series. Apply. And it's kind of surprising me, actually. If you guys have been around the channel, I've said many times the GPUs never get back down to the MRSP or MSRP, manufacturer suggested retail price. But they're actually getting back down to it. It kind of surprised me that they're actually getting that low. There we are. I know a lot of people's hating on Newegg right now, but the way their certain features are, I still use them. Their website's pretty good. I like their options on certain things and stuff like that. The return policy, I don't know. I guess it could be better, but depends on who you want to talk to. I just got the 30 series pulled up here in the 6000 series. Got them sorted by the lowest price. See what we can get here. Of course, you got the shit right on the top at the lowest price, $229 for a 6500 XT, which no one should buy. Like me and Chris were talking earlier, it's a waste of sand. It's a joke. It's really surprising considering the automotive industry is still struggling with microchip shortages. Yeah, I don't know how long you've been around the channel, Ryan, but I've always said there was no chip shortage on GPUs. NVIDIA and AMD both has put out more chips in the past year than they have in the last 2 years, 3 years combined. GPU shortages, to me, if you're into crypto mining, this ain't no stab at you, but it was crypto mining. It wasn't the fact of any kind of chip shortage. I mean, if you're a crypto miner, I realize where you come from. I see your side of it. There was an investment to make money. But I don't believe there was ever a shortage on GPUs. I don't ever believe there was a shortage on the dies. It was the fact that these companies were making backdoor sales to these big crypto miners where they didn't have to worry about warranty. They didn't have to worry about selling them individually, where they could sell a whole, 20 pallets of GPUs in one shot. As far as the chip shortage goes, I don't believe it ever had a thing to do with GPU shortage. It comes down to the mining and the way AMD and NVIDIA sold the GPUs out the back door to the crypto miners. Once the rest of the crypto mining boom is over with and that bubble pops, you're going to see so many GPUs come on the market as used crypto mining cards. It ain't going to be funny. You'll have your selection of what card you want. Should you buy them? That's a story for a different day. I actually got one back there on the shelf that I bought at 470 back in 2016. Last time the mining boom popped, I bought off of eBay used. I didn't get around to testing it before the warranty ran out or the protection buy through eBay ran out, and I got burnt. It's 470. I think I paid $80 for it or something like that. But I don't think GPU, the silicon shortage had anything to do with the cards. It was all down to the miners. They can say what they want in the press. They can say what they want to make them sound good, whatever, but I don't believe it. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. I don't think there's ever a shortage that contribute to the GPU shortage. It was all crypto mining. It was, we had a big flood of graphics cards whenever China cracked down on the crypto miners. There was a flood of graphics cards that hit the used market, and every one of them, was being sold or being shipped from China. Instead of one of them places got cracked down on, they were selling, probably half their GPUs off because it was cheaper to sell them off. They still making good money on the sale of the card on top of the profit they've already made off of them for using them for the last year. And it's probably cheaper to rebuy them at that point in time than it was to move them from one country to another. Trying to crack down on it due to the impact on the power, because what they really cracked down on was the ones that was running, 20, 30,000 fucking graphics cards. They cracked down on them due to the fact of how much power they were using, how much they were drawing. That actually put China in a bad way on the power grid. That's what the headlines read. Is there more behind it? I'm sure there is. The headlines on the news never tell you the exact story and everything that's going on. But because they was hitting the power grid so hard over there that it was literally knocking power out to residents in other parts of the country and whatnot, because these crypto mining farms was hitting the power grid so bad. And of course, China is probably like the rest of the world. They're still pretty dependent on coal and whatnot for their electric. So, it ain't the best for the economy, or the best for the environment, I should say. But yeah, they had a big crackdown on it over there in China. They actually outlawed it. Took quite a few of them off the grid. The power grid isn't terribly strong. They don't take good care of their... No, they don't. They really don't. But yeah, that was... Oh, hell, that was probably 10 months ago when they did that. They cracked down on a lot of the big crypto miners. Of course, they just moved to another country and reset up, but there was a flood of cards, used crypto cards that hit the market back when that happened. Just because they were selling them off, they didn't want to have to ship them all. And it's going to happen again when that bubble finishes popping. Power is at a premium there, and water too. Mining is status on both, a waste on both resources. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly why they cracked down on them and shut them down. Man, I gotta go back to drinking beer. I'm spilling too much coffee. What else do we got over here on Newegg that's reasonably priced? Something I could actually recommend. Hey, 6500 XTs. 6500 XTs. 6600. There we go, 6600. $339 for 3600. Not bad. Not bad. Gigabyte 3050 for 3350. Price is definitely coming down. They still ain't. I guess they're getting closer and closer to the MRSP, but yeah, manufacturer's suggested retail price, MSRP. Still a little high yet though. The water is valuable for the living and the TSMC fab, which pays a lot lately. Oh yeah, they ain't gonna let the TSMC close down because that's one of China's big revenue sources. They ain't gonna let the fab company shut down because of lack of water or because of lack of power. They're gonna do everything they can to protect it because that's big money for the government. Just with the taxes and the import charges and all that, well, the export charges and all that, that's big money for the country over there. Epic Gaming's in the house. How you doing? Still rather buy an i5 12600K and a DDR4 motherboard than a 3060 Ti. Better bang for the buck. An i5 12600KF and DDR4 motherboard and a 3060 Ti. Yeah, it'd make a pretty nice little system. That'd be a pretty good little banger, depending on what your budget is. I mean, you're looking at what for 12600KF, 3060 Ti. You're looking at probably $1,500 build. Or a little better, $1,700 build. By the time you figure in the price of the 3060 Ti, figuring the case, the cooling, the 12600F, you're going to have a pretty good AIO or a pretty big air cooler on it to be able to cool it. At least you're smart going with DDR4 and not recommending DDR5 for that. DDR5 is still way overpriced. Before DDR5 was launched, somebody asked me if I was excited for DDR5. What I said came true. It's hard to get. Pay out the nose for it. You're locked into one platform right now. I've seen all the generations of different RAMs come out, and they're always the same at the very beginning. DDR5 prices are still completely outrageous. Still hard to find, and if you're want to go DDR5 system, you're locked into a 12th gen Intel system, and you're paying big bucks for a DDR5. They're coming down some, and right out of the gate, I said it when it first launched, it ain't going to be much better than what you can get out of DDR4, and that proved to be true. I've just seen it too many times. I wasn't excited for DDR5. Now since it is out and they're making improvements on it, now it's gonna, it's gonna start outperforming DDR4. But it's still gonna take a while before you actually get the max out of it. What we got here? What else we got? So we're getting up in the 6800s and the 3050s. $379 for a 3050. 385 for 6600. Whoa, 6500 XT's out of stock. How's that possible? Someone actually bought it? What the hell's wrong with them? Must be an idiot. The 3050 for 379. 6600 for 390. They're definitely coming down in price. 6600, 389. 6600 XT for 409. 3050 for 381. See, NVIDIA cards are still way overly priced over the top of the AMD comparisons. 3050 for 413. There's 6500 XT for 400. What else we got? 3050 Elite for 420. 3050 for 425. Yeah, them things still way overpriced even for the 3050s. $6,600 really going for 462. Wow. Yeah, some models still cracked up there pretty good, ain't they? 6600 XT for 479. 3050 for over double what it's supposed to be. Think I'll jump right on that. Not. 3050, 6900 XT for 5. 3060. There's a 3060 12 gig mining cord for $501. View details. Is it actually in stock? 3060 Ti is 768. 6600 XT is 580. In Canada on Newegg. Yeah, and the 6600 XT can hold its own against 3060 Ti. Now, sold and shipped by Ideal Buying, but it is available to buy here in the U.S. for $501 for 3060 12 gig. It's kind of surprising. 3060, 3070s right now is still hard to find here in the U.S. 3050 for 485, 3060 for 499. That's kind of surprising because normally white ones cost quite a bit more than the black counterparts do. 3060 12 gig for 500, 6600 for 5. 3050 for 480 for a 3050. Wow, there's gotta be some scalpers still trying to get rid of what they've got. 3060 12 gig for $520. 3060 for 500. I mean, at least you can buy them. They're still a little high, but I paid $350 for 10700K 32 gig. $425 for a 2070 Super. $60 for a Fractal Massified C. $100 Corsair TX 750 watt. 124 1 terabyte M.2. ASUS 560 Pro for 125. Noctua in HD 15 for 60. 6600 is 483 here. That's what I am running now. I'll wait until everything is cheap to upgrade platforms again. Truthfully, I could actually handle an upgrade on my GPU, but I'm pretty happy with what I got. My system is definitely not a balanced system. It's way off balance, that 2070 Super that I run compared to the rest of the system. But the way I look at it, 2070 Super does what I need it to do. I'm not in a real big upgrade rush to throw my money at GPUs. Just still, in my opinion, still a little bit high to be buying. And for me to even go with an upgrade, I'd have to wait for at least a 3070 Ti to go above this 2070 Super. 3060 Ti would be kind of a side step instead of an upgrade. So, yeah, but it sounds like you got a pretty nice system there, Epic. $10700K. That's pretty good processor. At least in 11th gen. 425 for 2070 Super. That's pretty good. I paid $525 for mine. I think brand new, but it was before the craze. I still intend on using the 1650i rescued from its Acer Nitro pre-built. Now, they are on 1650. As long as GPU can do what you expect out of it. I mean, you know, as long as you're happy with the performance, you can get all that 1650 with the games that you play. Ain't nothing wrong with that. It's actually a pretty good little solid card, actually. Uh, 3050 6600 XTs for 5. 6600 XTs for 5. Maybe I'll do a search for 3060, see what the hell actually comes up with 3060s. That's 519 for the 3060. 3050, 520, or 520 for a 3060. Who in the right mind would pay $520 for a 3050 when right beside it is a 3060 for the same exact price? That's nuts. That is just right down nuts. There's a 3060 for 530. At least they are available. I cheaped out on the motherboard. Usually never get ASUS. Usually use ASUS. Bought my 2070 used when they announced the release of the 30 series, so people were selling them cheap. Then crypto boom. Yeah. Yeah, ASUS don't make too bad of motherboards. I try to avoid. That's another company I try to avoid. I try to avoid MSI and ASUS. I will use them. I have used them. But both them companies put a bad taste in my mouth. Like I said, it's been years, so maybe they're better than what I'm giving them credit for. I'm currently running a Ryzen 5 3600X EVGA 2070 on a Strix B550 gaming, 32 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte 970, 225 SanDisk SSD, and a 2 terabyte Western Digital 3600 with the 2070. Ain't bad. 32 gigs of RAM. Hell yeah. Not bad little system there. Still not a good buy, but it's the cheapest recent GPU. Yeah. What's that, Chris? Which GPU you talking about, bud? I actually wasn't disappointed with their motherboard. It's served me good thus far. No issues. Just scared to update the BIOS. Had horror stories. Yeah. Gigabyte used to be known for the bad BIOS updates and whatnot. If you look back to the channel, there's been quite a few of them I've done updates on. The last few years, I haven't had much problem with the BIOS updates. ASUS is just kind of a... ASUS is kind of the bottom of the barrel. I mean, they are good for budget builds. A lot of PC flippers, including myself, use ASUS motherboards to flip with. Which I don't like using them to flip. Which, GPU prices coming back down once I get back to work here. I'm hoping to get back into flipping some PCs. The ASUS buying game one with their 6500 XT. Yeah, that one. Alright, Chris. Yeah, I got you, buddy. It's still a pretty good buy. Yeah, 6500 XT. You know, a lot of people, if you contact the people that's actually flipping PCs, a lot of them use ASUS. Yeah, ASUS's the bottom of the crap barrel. Yeah, it is. But a lot of PC flippers use them. Me, I don't like using them even for my flips. Just because I don't stand behind them. And if it ain't something that I'm going to use, that I would use in my day-to-day system, I don't feel that I should be putting it in a PC to flip just to save a few bucks or be able to make a couple extra bucks on a sell, you know. And the same way with MSI. You can usually get MSI, the lower tier MSI boards, fairly cheap, which makes them good for flipping. But I'd rather be able to stand behind the computers that I build than to worry about making an extra buck on the sell. MT Corner is in the house. What's going on, MT? Glad you joined me. It's a pretty decent board in the X570s. Whenever you get up into the X570s, most of them are decent, no matter what board you go with, no matter what manufacturer you go with, because they're going to put the best components in them high-end boards, because you have to have the higher-end components on them motherboards to be able to do what them motherboards are supposed to do, to be able to keep up with the chipset. Of course, if you're talking flipping computers, I really wouldn't put an X570 into something to flip. But for everyday use, it's like mine, I run the X470, ASUS X470. I wish I had a little bit more I/O ports on the back of mine, for USB goes, but that's because I got so much shit plugged into mine. You know, a lot of people don't have as much plugged into their computers like I do. I believe ASUS is the bottom of the barrel, low end stuff. High end has gotten pretty nice. Not Gigabyte, try to on something and you'll know why. Yeah, the RMA's pretty bad with the Gigabyte right now. In the past, I've had no problem with Gigabyte RMA until they got hacked. Now, since they got hacked and all that's went down, the RMAs really went down. That's one reason why I don't like MSI. Because, like I said, you know, a few years ago, I got burnt pretty bad by MSI. Cost me several $100 to replace a motherboard because MSI wouldn't give me an RMA on it because it was a defective board. So, you know, and Gigabyte's RMA right now is pretty bad shape right now. I've been running the ASUS Steel Legend board for years and have literally never have a single hiccup. Yeah, the Steel Legend is one of the higher end motherboards. And of course, it's just like anything else in this industry, you know, especially in the tech industry, you get what you pay for. You pay a little bit more up front, you usually get a better product that's going to last you longer. I know a lot of people say it, but it's actually true in the computer industry. You know, you go with the higher tier, you know, even if it's a B550, you go with the Steel Legend compared to some of the cheaper ones, you know, well, they 3 HPs or whatever. There's a big difference in the motherboards, you know, they're both put out by ASUS. You know, and that's one thing to take into consideration when you're building a computer too. You know, do you want more problems, or do you want something that's going to be stable for you? Worst RMA service ever. ASUS is still not good on that, but it is still better. And the Tai Chi motherboards are really fancy. Yeah, the Tai Chi is one of the top end motherboards. MSI, on the other hand, is great on the aspect. Yeah, which that's going to be some of the videos coming up here on the channel. I'm going to get into some of that. You know, how to choose the right components for your build, how to save money on your motherboard, or how to, you know, that's some of the stuff that's going to be coming up here on the channel. I'm going to be working on here for the next couple of weeks. How to choose said component, you know, be motherboard, CPU, GPU. I also want to do a complete video on how to choose components for a balanced build. or if you should even worry about it being a balanced build. Like I said, my build is not balanced any way, shape, or form. And it's mainly because of my GPU. I did upgrade the RAM in my system. I am running 64 gigs of RAM compared to 32 that I put in when I built it. My biggest thing is my GPU. I run a 2070 Super. My GPU, my CPU is 3950X. I got 64 gigs of RAM. I could handle a lot higher end GPU than what I run. But then again, on the other hand, it does what I want it to do. I run 4K monitors with a 60 hertz monitor. I don't need a real high refresh rate. I don't game in 4K. I'm happy with 1080p gaming or 1440p gaming. So I really don't see much sense in upgrading my GPU, even though it's an unbalanced system. It still does what I need it to do. It's got my NVMe converter for my streaming. It's got my processor and RAM for the video editing. Even though it's an unbalanced build, it does what I need it to do, and it's set up to fit what I do with my computer. But that's another thing I want to touch on too, is should you worry about it being a balanced build? ASUS is good to buy. You pay for the branding. They're not the cheapest, so it is expected to have a good service. Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing. When you pay more money for a product, you expect to have better services after the fact of the sale, not just in the fact of what you have, or what's on the board, or what features it has, but it's the service after the sale that you're really looking at too. Get some of that light down my eyeballs. And here I am using a 32-inch smart TV. I paid $200 for it that gets 75 hertz at 1440p. That ain't bad. That ain't bad. I mean, actually, TVs is easier to push than what a monitor is. I run 4K monitors because I do my video editing in 4K. That's why I got the 4K monitors. That's why I went with 60 hertz monitors. I'm fine with 60 hertz. When you're doing, video editing at 4K, 60 hertz is plenty for me. I didn't need the 120. I didn't need anything like that. But I also run two of them. I got two of the 27-inch AOCs, 4Ks. The unboxing of one of them on the channel someplace. Dio, what's up, buddy? You're in the house. What's up, dude? Some of your BIOS videos helped me a lot. Just wanted to thank you. You're welcome, buddy. I'm glad I could help you. Thank you for stopping by and hanging out with us. We're just having a little bit of chat and hanging out here right now, buddy. Thank you for stopping by. I'm glad I could help you out with the BIOS videos for the 5500 with the A520 motherboard and some 1650 GPU and a Gen 3 NVMe drive. The CPU actually makes sense for budget builds. Not the greatest nut, and it should be enough for 5 to 6 years at least. Yeah. Well, it all depends too, Chris. It should be good for 5 to 6 years, as long as you're alright with that GPU for the next 5 to 6 years. If you want to upgrade your GPU to anything more, you're going to be getting into Gen 4 speeds on your GPU. Unless you stay back in the 2000 series. Alright. Yeah, because Gen 4 came out with the 3000 series. As long as unless you're just upgrading to the 2000 series, 2070, 2080s, whatever, you'd be alright with that. You put a 3000 series card in there, you're going to see a little bit of a decline in performance because of the PCI Express 3 when you're putting a Gen 4 card on it. P.S. Happy Easter. Have you found any Easter eggs yet on your PC? Nope, no Easter eggs yet, buddy. Happy Easter to you. Happy Easter to everybody out there. For y'all to celebrate. Very low pro family PC for a little gaming, it should be fine. Yeah, for family gaming PC. Low power family, yeah. That's what I mean. As long as you don't expect too much out of, you know what you're getting. You know, 1650 is still pretty good little graphics card. But it does kind of limit you on the upgradability of it. But it depends on how long you plan on running it and what you plan on doing with it, you know. I mean, if nothing else, you could always take it and use it as a home theater PC, you know, just to run Netflix off of, or whatever you like to stream, whatever streaming services you got. It's all PCIe Gen 3, so no upgrade path there, but still. Yeah, that's what I mean. As long as you're happy with the performance, you don't plan on upgrading it too much. You know, and 1650 it's a good little GPU. You just don't expect too much out of it, and you ain't gonna have the upgrade path for it. But then again, you know, I mean, it depends on what the budget is for it too. A lot of dust inside. Yeah, well, it's getting that time of the year around here. It's a good time to clean them up. I actually had someone comment the other day about on one of my videos about summertime was coming. It's time to clean out the dust, and that's a good time to clean the dust out of them. And it is. It's getting close to, you know, it's still spring, so it's a good time to do some spring cleaning on them. Especially if you live in a hot area where you have extremely hot summers. It's a good idea to clean the dust out of them before the heat sinks in. That way you don't run your system too hot. It's a little bit easier on the fans and whatnot. Got to do a Greg Salazar style. There you go. He really gets into it. He really breaks them down to pretty much nothingness to get his cleaning done. And as far as taking all the heat sinks off the motherboard and all that, and cleaning them all up, turning the GPU apart and cleaning them completely down to the PCB, and yeah, he does a really good job on them cleanings. You like them episodes, Chris? I do too. I watch them. Like the cleaning PC, how to clean gaming PC that I put out. It ain't even close to what he does. I mean, you know, mine's is like a spring clean that you should do every 6 months or so. Just blow the big dust out of them, wipe them down inside. You know, he really gets into it. A lot of them systems, they look like new when he's done with them. I don't know, I have a dust filter in my Misfied C and white, and just occasionally take it, leaf blower to it. It every week or two as needed. Yeah, that helps a lot by keeping them dust filters and stuff cleaned out. Kerry Holzman does some great videos too. Yeah, Kerry Holzman's another one. Before I started the YouTube channel, I watched a lot of Kerry's videos. He was one of my inspirations for even starting a YouTube channel, actually. Him and some of the other guys, you know, I like watching Paul's Hardware. I like watching Cal over there at BitWhip. Jay's 2 Cents, I watch a lot of his stuff. Gamers Nexus, I watch a lot of his stuff, but he goes in really deep into the way components work and whatnot. But I do watch a lot of his videos as well. Hardware Canucks, if I want to pull up a review on a case or a keyboard or headphones or something like that, I usually go to Hardware Canucks for that kind of info. I have much respect for Barnacle's Barnacles, yeah. He helped build the Windows you know and love. Actually, I don't love Windows. Uh, I really don't. Windows aggravates me so bad sometimes it ain't funny. But yeah, he used to be a coder for Microsoft till they screwed him over pretty good. Doing does tech stuff is a good channel. Yeah, I like some of the stuff he does. He does some of the. I just watched his latest video where he took a 3090 Ti and put it onto a VGA monitor. I definitely recommend that one. That's a pretty good one. Yeah, he does a lot of stupid shit. He does. I mean he's good for entertainment purposes. Is a lot of what he does I really wouldn't consider educational or anything like that, but he does. But for entertainment reasons, yeah, he's definitely a good one for that. If you want to just sit back and watch a video that you can laugh at, you can pretty well guarantee you're gonna get a laugh out of watching his videos. And I love watching Tech Yes City. He has a great budget PC flipper. Good old Brian. Yeah, Tech Yes City. I watch a lot of his stuff. I'm kind of jealous though. Down there where he's at, he gets quite a bit of good deals on used components. Um, Up here where I live in West Virginia, there ain't a whole lot of good deals here locally. Um, I live about an hour and a half south of Pittsburgh, and that would be probably the closest I could get where I could actually find some decent deals on computer components. And like I said, it's an hour and a half each way. I mean, it'd be a pretty good drive for me. I'd definitely have to line up quite a few deals to make it worth my time. Toasty Bros is also nice, and they have a store to sell PCs. Yeah, I noticed that they started selling the PCs. Zach over Zach Tech Turf does that too. Whatever he builds, he usually once a month, beginning of the month, he sells what he builds throughout the month through his website. I like to know what's going on with Brian over Tech ESC because he's talking about going back to Japan to visit his boy. But it seems like he's selling everything off that he's got. I wonder if he plans on setting back up over there in Japan instead of coming back to Australia where he's at. He loves the hustle. Sometimes he drives an hour for a GPU, but it seems like 5 seconds. Oh yeah, he does a lot of cutting out of the drive time and all that. I know he's mentioned it before. Go up to the what's it called? The Gold Coast, I think he says, or Bimson, something like that. It's like an hour drive for him each way. Yeah, so you're looking at 2 hours drive time just to get one GPU, but he does what I said I'd have to do to go to Pittsburgh. He lines up multiple deals up in that area to make it worth his time to be able to do that. I work a full-time job. I really don't have time to do something like that. I don't have time to take a Sunday just to go up or a Saturday. I do have responsibilities around the home. I do work the full-time job Monday through Friday. I work 60, 70 hours a week at a full-time job. Plus to have the money, or not the money, shit, have the time to do the YouTube videos and whatnot like I do. My time is pretty valuable. I really don't have the time, or I can't just take a day just to run up to Pittsburgh to make deals. Lincoln Ron is very educational and gives a lot of nice tips. I've never seen him. Never watched that one, Chris. Yeah, I mean, you know, and right now, I don't know if you guys was around last weekend or not, but I had my second hip replacement done, so I'm kind of grounded to the house for the next few weeks or so. I mean, I got 2 months off, but I really ain't in the shape to make that kind of drive to go to Pittsburgh to line up deals and whatnot. If I had the time, I'd like to do what Brian does over Tech City to get deals. Down here where I'm at, you know, I'm pretty well dependent on eBay and what I can get off eBay as far as used components. I pick up a few here and there, here locally, but I haven't done that in quite a few years. Chris Titus does the same for Linux. Yeah, he's good with his Linux. Meanwhile, where I live, Linus Sebastian and Mr. LTT is all of a 20-minute drive away. Ha ha, good old lower mainland. Yeah, that's cool. You live out close to LTT. You ever met him? I mean, you live 20 minutes away from his place. MT Dave, you should review the Raspberry Pi 400 all-in-one. It's about $100 and is built into a keyboard. Right now I gotta watch my pennies empty. As mentioned, I have my second hip replacement. I have no money right now. I got 2 months off, and I don't have short-term disability where I work at. So right now my funds are very limited right now, very very limited. Once I get back to work, though, I'll put that on the honeydew list, and maybe when I get back to work, maybe I can do that. We'll copy that there. And we will idea sheet, pull it up here. Where was I at? I got quite a few ideas for videos I'm going to be covering. Damn white print. Make it black. There we go. There we go. That's on the idea list, buddy. And Canada too. But for from PC. BC. So I got a couple Canadians watching me today. ETA Prime did a very deep review of the PI 400. I've seen him briefly a few times, but that's all. He is pretty well gets people who stand around outside his business or shop or whatever being creepy. Hello, Blueberry Pie 157. You're in the house. Welcome in, buddy. Glad you stopped by and hanging out with me. Looks like I do have 4 viewers here today. Welcome in, Blueberry Pie. Yeah, that's the problem, man. Whenever you get big like Linus is, and them, a lot of them bigger YouTubers, man, you have no privacy. You know, it's like being a movie star. And a lot of people probably hanging outside his place that lives up in that area just to get a glimpse of him, hopefully to meet up with him or something. I wouldn't know how to deal with that kind of fame. I had a math test today. So how'd you do, Blueberry? Did you pass that math test? I did pretty good. Yeah, pretty good is better than not doing it at all, right? As long as you passed it. Of course, the higher the score, the better, right? I'm glad you decided to hang out with me here, Blueberry. We're just kind of hanging out and chatting a little bit here today. Actually, I'll be right back, guys. Mr. Blueberry Pie, he got an 85, maybe a 90% test score. Very good, buddy. Very good. I hope to see you get that high of a score. As long as you're not at the bottom of the barrel with the 6500 XT and the Ryzen 5 5500. I'll tell you what, it'd be a budget system. I don't know if it'd be worth buying or not, but it'd be a budget system. I wouldn't recommend that system for anybody. But definitely, you put one of them together fairly cheap. No wonder I had to go pee. There's a lot of coffee to drink in the last hour and a half or so. But yeah, that would be definitely a bottom of the barrel rig, and I don't think I could recommend something like that. Alright guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up for the day, bud. I've been going here for about an hour and a half now, I guess. Like I said, I don't know if you guys have been in the stream or not, but I'm not feeling the best today. So, that's why I didn't really get into any gameplay for the day. I would actually like to build a bottom of the barrel AMD PC just to see how it performs. That may be worth an idea too, MT. And that would definitely be a bottom of the barrel 5500 with the 6500 XT. That'd definitely be a bottom of the barrel. I'm gonna hang it up, guys. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me for the day. I've enjoyed the chat. Hell, I enjoy that chat more than I do when I play games. I like to hang out longer, but I just ain't feeling it. I'm not feeling up to snuff today. So, yeah, really appreciate all the support you guys give me. I know a lot of you watch all my videos and you give me a lot of likes and all that good, happy stuff. I really appreciate the support from the community. But I'm going to hang it up for the day. There'll be some links in the description below for what we talked about today at the beginning of the stream. You guys like to go check any of them out to do any extra reading on it, you're more than welcome to see it. Don't forget the other links down there in the description. They may interest you. Don't forget to do all that fun YouTube stuff on your way down that description box. Y'all have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video or live stream.